9 most incredible animal births caught on camera. There have been a few times when we have witnessed our pet-like dogs and cats give birth to babies. It's not surprising that these mammals reproduce, but not all creatures are born the same way. So are there any animals that have a different way of doing it? Let's discover 9 magical bleeding moments of animals that will amaze you. Number 1. Suriname toad. This is a species of toad native to South America. They live only in the water and have flattened, leaf-like bodies with a size of 10 to 20 centimeters. Not only does it have a monstrous appearance, but this toad also has a way of reproduction that makes many people feel surprised. Specifically, female toads often quote-unquote create babies using the skin on the back. When the rainy season comes, the adult toads begin to call for a mate. Male and female toads mate continuously for 24 hours. The female toad can lay from 60 to 100 eggs per mating. After mating, the male toad will carry fertilized eggs into small honeycomb-shaped holes on the female's back. Eventually, the female toad's skin will automatically regrow, covering the honeycomb-like holes. This helps to preserve the development of the eggs for 4 months until the eggs hatch. When the eggs hatch, the baby toads will stay in the holes on the mother's back until they can live on their own and then come out. At the same time, the honeycomb-shaped skin on the back of the female toad also falls off and prepares for a new cycle. Number 2. Centipede. The reproductive ability of centipedes is amazing. They are parthenogenic. They do not need any direct mating between males and females. In some centipedes, the elixir is placed in a mesh bag and the male performs a courtship dance to convince the female to accept his sperm. In some other species, the males make spermatozoa and then leave, leaving the females to find them on their own. In temperate regions, centipede breeding time occurs in spring and summer. In subtropical and temperate regions, however, centipedes do not appear to have a seasonal reproductive cycle. All centipedes can reproduce by laying eggs or by giving birth to young. However, the way they reproduce can vary from species to species. For egg-laying centipedes, after the female lays eggs, about 60 to 80 eggs, the eggs will be protected by the mother until the baby centipedes molt for the first time. This animal develops directly, there is no larval stage. Centipede eggs are usually laid in nests or crevices and are usually covered by a protective outer layer. For centipedes that give birth to young, they will reproduce by giving birth directly to the young from their genitals. After that, the young will live in the protective dome of the mother and be nourished by sucking the water produced by the mother. After a while, the chicks will mature and leave the mother's protective dome. Centipedes are often highly reproductive and fast-growing. However, the number of offspring that survive depends on many factors such as living conditions, weather, protection, and food sources. Number 3. Kangaroo. This is an animal that reproduces by mating, giving birth, and then feeding with its mother milk. Male and female kangaroos will be randomly paired. The reproductive cycle of kangaroos is similar to that of humans. The fertilization of a kangaroo takes place when the egg falls into the uterus of a male kangaroo. The sperm will meet the egg and develop into a baby kangaroo. Female kangaroos have a gestation period that ranges from 31 to 33 days. This animal usually gives birth to one calf at a time. At birth, the pups are red, have no eyes, and are very small, about 1 inch, which is 2.54 centimeters long, and weighing about 0.8 to 1 gram. When the baby kangaroos are born, the mouse babies will be placed in the mother's pouch and live and develop in it for about 8 months before they come out. When young, kangaroos are usually hairless. The coat will grow as they mature. Their fur is usually quite ruffled and thick. Depending on the line of kangaroos, the color of the coat is different. When her pups are mature enough to earn their living, the mother kangaroos will no longer put them in the bag. Number 4. Seahorse. To give birth, seahorses must mate first. Males and females will constantly swim around to flirt with each other with their fins. They can play like this for a few days before mating. After agreeing to mate, the female seahorse will swim close to the surface of the water and the male seahorse will follow. The female will then place the bright orange eggs into the male's pouch through the hole at the top of the bag. After safely inserting the eggs inside, the male releases his sperm into them and proceeds to close the pouch. Once the eggs are fertilized, they will begin to develop into baby seahorses. Before sending the eggs to the male seahorse, quote-unquote, to look after, the female seahorse used her energy to provide nutrients to the eggshell. At this point, the mother seahorse's job is done. The father seahorse will now play the role of caretaker and incubator. The job of the male seahorse is to create a safe environment in which to raise baby seahorses to thrive. The male seahorse's egg bag can regulate temperature, blood flow, and water salinity to ensure the best egg development conditions. Seahorses are so small that they cannot eat plankton like their parents. Therefore, the survival rate of baby seahorses is also much lower. In addition, they tend to be swept away by ocean currents before they can cling to rocks or corals to hide. At this time, many baby seahorses accidentally become delicious prey for other fishes. Male seahorses do not eat until several hours after birth. However, if the baby seahorses are still around, they can inadvertently become a delicious meal for the male seahorse. Yes, sometimes male seahorses also eat their offspring. Number 5. Sea urchin. Besides the odd shape, the way this animal reproduces and develops is also very special. Specifically during the breeding season, male sea urchins will release a huge amount of sperm into the ocean, while female sea urchins also do the same with eggs. But only a small fraction of these eggs and sperm can meet to fertilize. Once the eggs are fertilized, they develop and hatch into sea urchin embryos. From the moment they hatch, sea urchin embryos can swim. As they grow a bit more, the porcupine embryo becomes a larva, similar in shape to an umbrella. Interestingly, the porcupine larvae are completely blind and deaf. However, they continue to swim for weeks and months in this state and survive by eating algae. What a persistent creature, isn't it? During ocean travel, a microscopic adult sea urchin gradually formed and developed inside the larva. At a certain point, the larvae are forced to find a surface to land on before the adult sea urchin inside becomes too large. When the time is almost ripe, the current will bring the larvae close to the shore, right where the waves hit the white foam. The turbulence caused by the waves combined with the delicious taste of the kelp made the larvae know that the time had come. At this point, the larvae will stop swimming and drop freely to the seafloor. What happened next was the most unbelievable in this whole development. From inside the larva, tuberous legs begin to protrude. These legs will perform the task of pulling the entire adult sea urchin inside out, just like how we flip a sock. Currently, the sea urchin has officially turned into an adult form. This is an interesting process for sea urchins. Number 6. Dolphin. This is a fish that reproduces by giving birth and nursing its young with its mother's milk. They have reproductive organs located inside the body. The dolphin's belly has genital slits. Once spawning, dolphins can only give birth to one baby and the gestation period lasts for 1 year. After giving birth, they will breastfeed through the nipples. When the baby dolphins are 11 months old, they will be separated from their mother. At the end of pregnancy, you will see dolphins born this way, first sticking the tail out and then completely sticking out. The umbilical cord of these mother dolphins is not maintained, which was broken when the fetus came out. At birth, they come to the surface to breathe. This birthing process can take 40 minutes or an hour, but it can also take up to 3 hours. During all this time, there is great danger because female dolphins lose a lot of blood during childbirth, which can attract predators. Number 7. Bee. A hive has only one queen bee. The queen bee is responsible for reproduction. They can lay up to 1,500 eggs per day and mainly spawn in spring and summer. The queen bee will lay about 1 million eggs in about 5 years of life. The development stage of bees goes from eggs to larvae, then to pupae, and finally to bees. The male bee will die during mating and lose the mating organs when fertilizing the queen bee. This part will be transferred into the body of the queen bee. The queen bee mates with the next male bee. She will abandon the previous male's reproductive organs and continue to conceive. Bee eggs are very small, white and pear-shaped. After 3 days, the eggs will hatch and the queen bee will lay 1 time per day. After laying, the queen bee will fly out into the wild for about 1 week. It will mate with 15 male bees 3 days before returning to the hive to prepare to lay eggs. When a new queen bee is needed, they choose a healthy larva that has just hatched and feeds the larvae royal jelly, a special food. This milk helps the larvae grow rapidly to become a new queen bee. A hive is always guarded by armies of worker bees. If their nest is threatened or attacked, the bees will become aggressive. They're ready to destroy anyone who dares to touch their nest. The bees will secrete a chemical to warn other bees so that they fly out to the hive to fight the enemy. Number 8. Darwin's frog. This creature lives in the rivers and streams of Chile and Argentina. Among amphibians, Darwin's frog is a quote-unquote eccentric animal with a unique method of reproduction. When spawning, female frogs will lay an average of about 40 eggs on the moist leaf shelf of the forest. The male frog will stay on guard until the embryo is formed, about 3 to 4 weeks. The male frog then swallows the embryos into a special pouch located in the larynx. Tadpoles are formed after 3 days. The male frog continues to keep the young tadpoles in the pouch until they are fully grown, such as into a healthy baby frog. While in the pouch, the tadpole will be nourished by nutrients secreted from the bag wall. After the baby frogs are independent enough, the father frog will spit them out through the mouth. Although it looks horrible, this method of reproduction helps this frog to protect the next generation of individuals as safe and healthy as possible. Number 9. Platypus. The reproduction rate of the platypus is among the lowest in the animal kingdom. Only 1 out of every 2 females lays eggs. During the breeding season, the female platypus will stay alone in underground burrows to lay eggs. Females lay 2 to 3 eggs between August and October. Eggs develop in the mother's body for about 28 days. The eggs are then laid inside a burrow to up to 20 meters deep and incubated for 12 to 14 days by the belly and tail of the mother platypus on a nest lined with grass and leaves. 2 weeks after the eggs hatch, the young are then out about 1.25 centimeters long. The mother platypus will nurse her babies for the first 3 to 4 months of life until their babies can swim. The mother platypus has no nipples, so milk is made from large glands under the skin. Milk secreted from 2 places has a structure like a nipple. The young press on those places to let the milk flow down their mother's belly hair to lick and suck the milk that comes out. This milk is rich in iron, 60 times more iron than cow's milk. The young drink breast milk from 4 to 5 months and remain in the burrow. They begin to leave the nest and learn to swim when they are about 17 weeks old. When not in the water, the platypus rests in burrows that they dig themselves in the stream. Female platypus burrows are usually larger than males because that's where they raise their young. That is the amazing information about 9 miraculous breeding moments of animals. Do you know any other animals? Please share them with everyone in the comment section of this video. Goodbye for now and see you in the next videos of our channel.